possible.
Hi, welcome to my channel. Today, we're gonna talk about the rise of the super soldiers. Is the creation of a super soldier possible? If science fiction becomes science, how long will it take? What would it take to make a real-life super soldier? Should we even do it if we have the capability? There are several examples of how technology has improved people's lives by enhancing their innate or acquired capabilities. Biomedical therapies, for example, have attempted to restore inadequate functions such as vision, hearing, or movement over time. When it comes to human vision, significant progress has been made since the invention of spectacles, perhaps in the 13th century, and has continued in recent years, with doctors implanting artificial retinas to give blind individuals partial sight. Recently, scientists successfully linked a paralyzed man's brain to a computer chip, allowing for partial movement of previously non-responsive limbs. Synthetic blood replacements have also been developed, which may one day be utilized in human patients. Technology's advancements in restorative and therapeutic contexts may theoretically be employed to treat non-pathological problems in other contexts. Many of the technologies and pharmaceutical products developed in a medical context to treat patients are already being used by humans to enhance some aspect of their bodies, such as brain-boosting drugs, nutritional supplements, mood-controlling brain stimulation technologies, and growth hormones for children of short stature. Apart from their curative and restorative uses, assistive technology for disabled persons, reproductive medicine, and pharmacology have a bigger potential for human enhancement than currently considered. There are potentially multiple outcomes, since some therapies can have enhancement-like effects, such as the artificial legs used by South African sprinter Oscar Pistorius, which give him a competitive advantage. For centuries, fantasies ranging from myths of supernormal strength and eternal life to the abilities shown by superheroes in 20th century comic books have crowded our imagination. The ambition to transcend normal human capacities and transform into a nearly perfect form has long been a feature of civilization's history, spanning arts, religion, and philosophy. The objective of promoting human health and well-being has long been a driving force behind biomedical research and development. In its broadest meaning, human enhancement can be defined as an improvement of the limitations of a natural version of the human species in relation to a certain point in time and to various surroundings, which can fluctuate depending on factors such as climate change. Physical and/or mental or cognitive limits might be present in the human situation. Example is vision, strength or memory. This raises important considerations about what constitutes a genuine or perceived human limitation in the environment and periods in which we live, as well as how it might be modified through time in light of modern society's social norms and cultural values. Furthermore, the impact that overcoming these restrictions will have on humans and the environment must be taken into account. For example, boosting the immune systems of specific people could lead to the development or evolution of more resistant viruses and bacteria, as well as the emergence of novel viruses and bacteria. In terms of the environment, increasing human longevity could lead to a significant increase in world population, putting further pressure on ecosystems that are already under stress. Human enhancement methods were defined 2 decades ago as biomedical procedures used to improve human form or function beyond what is required to restore or maintain health. With technological advancement, the scope of these techniques has broadened to include any form of genetic, biological, or pharmaceutical intervention targeted at improving human dispositions, capacities, or well-being, even if there is no sickness to treat. Human enhancement practices can be thought of as upgrades to a system, in which interventions are made to improve the original system's performance. This isn't a hypothetical circumstance at all. Rapid advancements in nanotechnology, biotechnology, information technology, and cognitive science have reignited debates regarding the human species' evolutionary trajectory, with the possibility of new applications that could bring capacities beyond those already available. If such a possibility were consciously embraced and actively pursued, technology could have a revolutionary impact on human life, not only assisting humans in achieving general health and capabilities comparable to our current ones, but also assisting humans in overcoming human limitations far beyond what is currently possible. The emergence of new technologies has opened up a wider range of potential human interventions, as well as the possibility of transitioning from external to internal changes to our bodies, especially when it comes to genetic manipulation, which can result in permanent and transmissible changes. The proponents of a far-reaching human enhancement are known as transhumanists. Humans have generally sought to control and shape their outside environments, but new technologies, example, biotechnology, information technology, and nanotechnology, will soon allow them to manage and radically transform their own bodies, according to their vision. Supporters of these technologies believe that harnessing technology to transcend human limitations could allow us to live longer, healthier, and even happier lives. The so-called bioconservatives, on the other hand, argue for the preservation and protection of some form of human essence, saying that there is something intrinsically precious in human existence that should be protected. Transhumanists and bioconservatives are arguing over the ethical issues surrounding the use of technology in humans. Rapid technological advancements in recent decades have raised the possibility of dramatic improvement of human characteristics and capacities to levels far above what is currently attainable for humans. By giving people complete control over their biology, genetic engineering opens up the possibility of such an improvement. Genetic engineering includes, among other things, genome editing, also known as gene editing, a range of technologies that can directly modify an organism's DNA by a targeted intervention in the genome. Genome editing is thought to have a significantly higher level of precision than other types of genetic modification. It has been stated that its efficiency, which reduces cost and time, makes it a breakthrough instrument. This technology is thought to have numerous uses in human health, including illness prevention and treatment. Much of the ethical discussion around this technique revolves upon the use of genome editing in the human germline, or the genome, that can be passed down to future generations via gametes, fertilized eggs, or initial embryo divisions. In the current and future contexts, there has been both anxiety and excitement about the technology's ability to edit the human germline genome to provide humans with features that are regarded desirable or helpful, example, muscle strength, memory, and intelligence. To illustrate some of the potential consequences of heritable interventions, consider the editing, more specifically, the deletion of multiple base pairs of the CCR5 gene using CRISPR genome editing technology. In 2018, 2 non-identical twin girls born in China had such treatment. CCR5 loss-of-function mutations have previously been found to provide HIV resistance. As a result, the gene deletion should prevent the twin infant girls from HIV transmission, which could have occurred as a result of their father being HIV positive. However, the father's infection was kept under control, and the HIV virus titer was undetectable, indicating that the danger of HIV infection to the babies was minimal. The ability to allow our species to adapt quickly to the rate of environmental change induced by human activity, for which Darwinian evolution may be too slow, could be one of the attributes that must be engineered to secure our survival. For example, engineering resistance to radiation and osteoporosis, as well as other diseases that would be highly desirable in space, could help sustain long-distance space flight. One of the problems to examine while examining the impact of genetic engineering on human evolution is what effect, if any, genetic technology may have on the human population's genetic pool and any implications for its resilience to unforeseen conditions. Beyond such reasons, it's worth noting that human genetic enhancement could occur on many geographical scales, regardless of the unique environment and geological periods in which humans live, and at a far faster rate than evolution, which is characterized by sluggish changes. If this were to happen on a regular basis, and on a big scale, the consequences of the resultant extreme and rapid shifts would be difficult to forecast and control. If we choose to genetically enhance human qualities to levels that are unlikely to be achieved by human evolution in the future, it will be critical to evaluate whether and how our understanding of human evolution will help us better understand the consequences of genetic interventions. As a result of technology advancements, new forms of human enhancement are becoming more prevalent. So, how really close are we at creating real-life Captain America soldiers? Because of the massive success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, some in the military industry have been working on Iron Man-style battle suits for American troops. While there are some plausible prototypes in the works, it appears that Captain America's Super Soldier program will be the first to be released. Though it may not resemble the procedure that Steve Rogers went through, it is possible that it will occur within the next 30 years. Dr. Peter Emanuel and Dr. Diane Diulius discussed their 2019 paper, Cyborg Soldier 2050, for the U.S. Army with Military.com's managing editor Hope Hodge-Sek. The report outlines a study committee formed by the Defense Department's Biotechnologies for Health and Human Performance Council, BHPC, that looked at developing technology that could improve human biological capacities in a variety of areas of interest to the Pentagon. Vision, hearing, muscular control, and direct neural augmentation of the human brain for two-way data transmissions were among the technological advances. In just 30 years, super troops may wind up looking like Captain America with a dash of Johnny Mnemonic. We are entering the fourth industrial revolution, this biological revolution, Emanuel stated, noting that technology is speeding up. Over many years, we've already witnessed the merging of man and machine in the usage of pacemakers to some level. We're already seeing mankind get more intimate with technology to some extent. Senior Pentagon officials dislike surprises according to Emanuel, but they are aware that man and machine will be brought together. The study and paper are intended to inform the Department of Defense on the types of technology that may be on the way, as well as how they might merge. The usage of blue and red teams is one of the ways the military works to address challenges. The blue team makes every effort to make the most of technology. The red team is programmed to think enemy-like. The Department of Defense gave this red team a year to show the Pentagon what the cyborg future would entail and to assist the Pentagon's senior brass in preparing for it. However, they did not cover broad strokes of technology. Instead, they chose to focus on areas that are most important to actual war fighters, as well as their propensity to accept various technologies. Of course, it's crucial to recognize that not all scientific efforts to increase human performance are necessarily military-related. While Captain America benefited from defense research during his journey to the pinnacle of human potential, today's pharmaceutical giants and university-backed academics are making tremendous breakthroughs in the private sector to improve human performance. The studies, treatments, and even body changes discovered in these other projects would almost surely play a major role in a genuinely all-encompassing super soldier effort, and to be clear, the Pentagon would probably prefer it that way. In recent years, the Defense Department has placed a greater focus on utilizing off-the-shelf technologies developed by the commercial sector. This method saves a lot of money compared to the traditional way of asking ideas and awarding contracts for research and development, and it also allows for much faster delivery. The more commercially available components a new defense program uses, the faster it can get from concept to reality. This attitude may work for guns and night vision goggles, but it may also work for the medical treatments and technology that the Pentagon will require to field super troops. So, let's take a look at several defense and private sector initiatives that could very well pave the way for a new era of superheroes, as we know them, on the battlefield. As you'll see, the question isn't necessarily whether or not we can create a super soldier. Rather, the question is whether or not we should. The human body was built to withstand a lot of punishment, but an engineering design for a near-future artificial red blood cell could give future super soldiers a huge advantage over the competition. These artificial red blood cells, known as respirocytes, would allow users to hold their breath for long periods of time and increase cardiovascular endurance dramatically. These tiny machines would only have three parts: rotors for absorbing and releasing oxygen, carbon dioxide, and glucose, and rotors for absorbing and releasing carbon dioxide. In effect, respirocytes would perform the same function as red blood cells, but considerably more efficiently than nature could allow, which would give its user the ability to hold their breath underwater for hours longer than normal, or run at top speed for more than 15 minutes without stopping to breathe. The ability to hold your breath for hours would obviously be useful for special operations approaching from the coast, and the extra endurance provided by these supercells would be useful in just about any combat situation on the planet. With tensions rising in the Himalayan highlands, soldiers may use respirocytes to work in the thin air of high altitudes, just like they would at sea level. The same premise of supercharging your red blood cells is already a common cheat among some athletes who engage in blood doping, which entails drawing your blood, separating the red blood cells, waiting for your body to replenish its supply, and then injecting those red blood cells back into your body. The extra red blood cells subsequently assist in transporting more oxygen from your lungs to the rest of your body, resulting in increased endurance. Night vision goggles, NVGs, are often used by American service members in theater today. However, these systems have a number of limitations. The typical NVGs issued to ground personnel have limited peripheral vision, and even less depth perception, making them difficult to acclimate to, and increasing the risk of dangerous actions, such as traveling at high speeds, or engaging opponents in firefights. Special forces often have stronger night vision alternatives, but with civilian equivalents lately entering the market for approximately $40,000 per pair, these more powerful goggles are too expensive for widespread distribution. But what if we no longer required them? In a recent study from the University of Massachusetts Medical School in Worcester, Massachusetts, mice were trained to traverse a maze by following triangle indicators they saw along the way. They'd then turn off the lights and let the mice try again, with exactly the same results. They couldn't find their way in darkness. The mice were then given nanoparticles that convert infrared light to visible light, which were put directly into their eyes. The result was a newfound capacity to see in the dark that lasted around 10 weeks, and had no harmful side effects. How handy it would be to be integrated into human physiology like that of a super soldier. Despite all of Captain America's abilities, he's never been able to read people's thoughts or use telekinesis, but these abilities may become commonplace in the future. DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, was already testing helmets that allowed for silent dialogue a decade ago. The idea was to read a user's pre-speech brainwaves and convert them into data that could be sent over the internet. The system in the recipient's headset would receive the data and interpret it into audio or visual cues. This would allow soldiers on the battlefield to communicate while remaining completely silent, but the applications for this technology go far beyond whispering secrets into the ear of your squad leader. DARPA stated in 2018 that a person using their experimental brain-computer interface had successfully commanded 3 different types of simulated aircraft concurrently with her mind. Fighter pilots could be able to control their AI-equipped drone wingmen from programs like the Air Force's Skyborg, or Boeing's Loyal Wingman by simply thinking about them. The same technology might be used in the future for additional drone and semi-autonomous air, sea, and ground vehicles, allowing our warfighters to carry their own heavy reinforcements into battle, or even control robotic exoskeletons they wear. Of course, the most essential feature of Captain America's super soldier serum was its capacity to convert him physically from a frail underdog to a heavyweight champion. But is that even possible? Steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs have been around for a long time, and make no mistake, there have been instances of these medications being utilized for military purposes. Using anabolic steroids, on the other hand, necessitates a carefully monitored treatment plan that includes drugs to counteract your body's natural tendency to generate more estrogen to compensate for the increased testosterone in your system. Failure to properly manage hormones can result in major health problems, such as the ones we've all heard about among needle-pushing bodybuilders. However, buying a cycle of steroids from a dodgy person behind Gold's Gym isn't the only way to control a body's hormones or makeup. Hormone and gene therapies, which are already used to treat, cure, or supplement patients, could potentially be utilized to transform an ordinary soldier into something a little more exceptional, according to Paul Zare, director of the University of Victoria's Centre for Biomedical Research. Captain America's transformation from skinny to studly may appear more improbable on film than Tony Stark's Iron Man armor, but the truth is that fielding an army of Captain Americas would be considerably easier than fielding an army of Iron Men. All robotic exoskeleton programs are already underway around the world, but many of these programs face the same fundamental issues, the most significant of which is power storage. When it comes to powering our cell phones, cars, and even some military submarines, today's lithium-ion batteries are significantly more capable than those of the past, but battery technology is still nothing near what it would need to be to power Iron Man's suit. Even if you eliminated flying, which you would need to do, the power requirements for moving around in an armored exoskeleton would almost probably require you to stay connected to an industrial power supply. To much excitement, the U.S. Special Operations Command unveiled intentions to develop their own Iron Man suit, dubbed Talos, about 10 years ago. The idea of Navy SEALs costumed as War Machine breaking down doors sounded so plausible that they even made an official film that appeared to show them planning to do just that. However, by 2018, SOCOM had decided to end the program, and while some elements will undoubtedly live on under other development banners, the decision to end Talos was almost certainly influenced by how difficult it is to create a robotic suit that can power itself and be so reliable that we could put a human operator inside one while under enemy fire. However, exoskeletons are still finding their way into service, such as China's, which has been employed in their high-altitude standoff with India, and the U.S. Marine Corps SACO's Defense Guardian Exo Alpha robotic exoskeleton, which is now being tested. Both of these outfits, however, lack armor, and are designed solely for enhancing endurance or carrying boxes into and off of a truck. Although it appears doubtful that anyone will develop a single injection or therapy capable of producing all, or even some, of the possibilities earlier described, experimental super soldier programs may not be far off. The only problem is that it appears far more possible that we'll see a Captain China emerge from these projects before we see our favorite hero in blue tights. That isn't necessarily due to America's technological lag, but rather to the country's determination to self-police. Mankind is already capable of designing and deploying genuine nightmares on the battlefield, from bacterial and nuclear weapons to autonomous killing machines. Scientists are increasingly asking themselves not only if they can do something, but also if they should. In this predicament, America may find itself at a strategic disadvantage. Due to a censorship stranglehold on all media and internet activities, as well as President Xi Jinping's nomination as the nation's leader for life, China does not face the same disadvantage. China's people are significantly more forgiving of human rights violations, as evidenced by the Xinjiang internment camps, and far less likely to influence military decisions based on popular opinion. And it's not an unwarranted assumption that China is ready to take these risks while Americans debate their moral and ethical implications. In December 2020, China has already started the kinds of human experiments we'd file under the super soldier umbrella, according to John Ratcliffe, former Director of National Intelligence of the United States. Ratcliffe claimed in a recent op-ed for the Wall Street Journal that China has already begun human testing on members of the People's Liberation Army in order to build soldiers with biologically upgraded skills. China's apparent use of the gene editing technique CRISPR, which stands for clusters of regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, has already been discussed by other scholars. While the US isn't ruling out the possibility of using biological and technical means to create real-life super troops, it appears that other countries will take the lead in this quest. It's vital to clarify that this insight does not imply that America should alter its military in a less ethical manner. Rather, it's supposed to be a practical approach of understanding the type of threats on the horizon. Acknowledging China's industrial advantage in warship construction isn't a criticism of America's own infrastructure any more than recognizing that their potential advantage in this ethical quandary is a criticism of America's guiding principles. For the time being, it appears very probable that future battlefields will witness super troops of some kind, whether genetically, physiologically, or technologically engineered, or perhaps all three. Being first doesn't automatically imply being greatest, and there will undoubtedly be some surprises along the way, as there have been in every previous arms race. If you like this video, please don't forget to support this channel by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you and have a great day.